She's got herself a universe gone quickly. For the call of thunder threatens everyone. And I feel like I just got home, and I feel like I just got home, and I faster than the speeding light, she's flying, trying to remember where it all began.
Okay, hi there. Today we're going to be looking at review for test 8. And I'm going to jump right in. The first one is, if I gave you a problem up like this, say what is the degree of 10x to the fourth, and has a part B also, which is 18x to the third y squared. The degree of the polynomial has to do with the exponent on the variable. So in this case, there's a degree of 4 because that's the exponent on the x. This one has two variables. Notice how they're not the same variable, otherwise I'd combine them together first. But they have two different ones, x's and y's, and there's three x's, exponent of 3 and exponent of 2 on the y, which means you add them together and get 5. Okay, so those are those problems. Number 2, add or subtract, and I got two parts for this too. So I got 16x to the fourth plus 5x to the fourth plus x squared. And B is 3n squared minus 4n plus 8 minus negative 4n sloppy plus 5n. All right, so first one, I'm just combining like terms here, really. When you're adding, just add them together. Remember, you can only add x squareds with x squareds, x to the fourths with x to the fourths, etc. So 16 plus 5 is 21, and the exponents do not change. The exponents only change when you multiply or divide them. And there's nothing to combine with the x squared, so I just write it down at the end, plus x squared, and that's the answer. Number 2, now there's a couple ways you could do this. I still like, when I have subtraction, I change all the signs in the second set of parentheses. Leave the first set alone, change the second set. So that one becomes plus 4n, that one will become negative 5n. Now I combine like terms. 3n squared plus 4n squared is 7n squared. There's these two I can combine. Minus 4n and minus 5n is minus 9n. That's the one that has nothing to add with. There's nothing to add the 8 with, so I just bring it down. And that's the answer. 3. Multiply 2x to the third times x squared minus 2x plus 3. All right, so this is distributive property. I'm going to multiply that 2x squared times each thing in the parentheses. 2x to the third times x squared is 2x to the fifth. 2x to the third times 2x is 4x to the fourth. Remembering you're adding exponents, that 1 has the exponent, the x has the exponent of 1 if there's nothing written there. And then 2x to the third times 3 is 6x to the third. And that is the answer. 4. Factor. (18x to the third minus 27x squared). Okay, so I'm looking to see, this is the kind where you're just pulling something outside in front of the parentheses. 18 and 27 are both divisible by 9. They both have x's, so I can pull out some x's. The smallest exponent will determine how many, and I want to pull out as many as possible. In this case, I can pull out 2. And then I can divide. 18 divided by 9 is 2. I had 3 x's up here, but I pulled 2 of them out, which leaves me with 1 left in the parentheses. If it's subtraction in the original, keep it as subtraction between the two terms. And 27 divided by 9 is 3. I had 2 x's, I pulled them both out, which means there's none left in the second term, and that's it. 5. Multiply. 4x plus 5 times x plus 3. Okay, so this one. If I'm multiplying this, you either do FOIL or box, whichever you prefer. I'm going to do it by FOIL. If you'd like box, you can do that too. 4x times x is 4x squared. Outside terms are 4x and 3. 12x. Remember, you're multiplying to find out when you do the original steps, when you do the FOIL, or to find out what's in the boxes, and then add up at the end. 5 times x will be the inside, and the last terms will be the 5 and the 3, which is 15. And then I can combine like terms, and my answer is 4x squared plus 17x plus 15. And you're done. Now, that was actually a part A. I'm going to do one more over on the side here. And this one, just because I have to put it up there because so many kids get this one wrong. When you multiply this out, this is not x squared plus 4, because if I actually go and multiply this out, I get x and 2, x and 2. Remember, that's x plus 2 times x plus 2. Which is going to give me a trinomial. So I get x squared, 2x, 2x, and 4, which when I add them together, I can add those two together. I get x squared plus 4x plus 4, and that is the answer. Number 6, factoring. A, I got x squared minus 8x plus 12. B, I got x squared minus 100. I have a C and a D also. And I'll get to those in shortly. All right, so this is the easy kind, when there's nothing in front of the x squared. Don't make your life harder than it is. I got x, okay? Things that multiply to 12 and add up to negative 8. That would be 6 and 2 multiply to 12, and if I make them both negative, then they add up to negative 8. And that's the answer. This one is a difference of 2 squares. I'm looking for the things that multiply up to negative 100 and add up to 0, or you can just remember it's plus 10 and minus 10. Either way, that's the answer. C and D, a little more meat on them. 18x squared plus 5x minus 2. All right, so with this one, because it has that 18 there, that changes it. This is going to be, a little harder. So I start out by going 18 times 2 is negative 36. So I'm taking the factors of negative 36 that add up to 5. And factors of negative 36 would be, 12 and 3, 6 and 6, 18 and 2, and 9 and 4. All right, so if I make one, I know one of them's got to be negative because it has to multiply to a negative number. So if I make that one negative, that doesn't add up to 5. That one's 0, that one's 16, that one. If I make the 4 negative, then they add up to 5. Okay, so I get 9x minus 4x minus 2, and I got the 18x squared up in here, bring it down. Draw a line down the middle, factor by grouping. I can pull out a 9 and an x out of 18x squared and 9x. 18 divided by 9 is 2. I had 2 x's, pulled 1 out. Remember, 9x divided by 9x is 1. It's important to have that 1 there. And on this side over here, I can pull out a 2. And I'm left with negative 2x minus 1. Problem here is my parentheses don't match, so if I make this 2 outside the parentheses negative, I can then change both the signs in the parentheses, and my parentheses will match. Now, believe it or not, I'm at the point where I can write down my answer. The easy one is the 2x plus 1. The harder one is what's outside the parentheses, which would be the 9x minus 2. And that's that answer. All right, D, last one. 3x to the third minus x squared minus 6x plus 2. Okay, so this one. Anytime I see something with 4 terms like that, I'm thinking going straight to factor by grouping. Draw a line down the middle and then see what I can pull out of each. Okay, I can pull an x squared out of both of those terms, so I'm left with 3. I had 3 x's, pulled 2 out, leaves me with 1. X squared divided by x squared is 1. On the right side, I can pull out a 2. That might be it. Leaves me with negative 3x plus 1. Okay, so I'm close. My parentheses are almost matching, but don't. The numbers are correct, but the signs are wrong. So if I make the 2 negative, change everything else to the sign of everything else. Plus negative 1 is the same as minus 1. And over here I got 3x minus 1. Okay, and then I can write down my answer. The answer will be x squared minus 2 times 3x minus 1. And that's it. All right, so that concludes the video. I'm going to close it out with a little more music. See you soon.
She's got herself a little mental piece of